revealed how gangs of trafficked African prostitutes and their pickpocket masters rule the streets of Magaluf, turning resort into a tourist no-go zone, as new footage emerges of thieves targeting Brit holidaymakers. Heading back to their hotel after a boozy night out, this is the moment two British holidaymakers are pickpocketed in Magaluf by muggers posing as street traders. One of the tourists tries to stop his food from being taken, but as he does so, the thief grabs him, turns him round and, in one quick movement, dips into his pocket. Barely a second later the thief walks off with what looks like a wallet or a phone as the confused holidaymaker stumbles forward, unaware he has been robbed. The shocking CCTV footage, taken in the early hours of Sunday on Magaluf Strip, was given to Mail Online by bar owners who say criminal gangs who traffic prostitutes and rob holidaymakers are turning Magaluf into a tourist no-go zone. Gangs of trafficked Nigerian and Senegalese women are luring drunk men into sex only to then rob them, the locals say. The women are brought over from impoverished cities in West Africa by gang masters, often without the money to pay for their journey, and are forced to work to pay off their debt to the traffickers, according to investigators. Protesters have clashed with the women they accuse of driving holidaymakers away, as tourism in Magaluf has fallen 7% in the last 12 months. They traffickers like the thieves in the video pose as street traders, known as looky men, who wander the streets hawking goods like sunglasses or novelty hats. The men also target either lone or drunk tourists walking back to their hotels in the early hours along the strip. A British bar owner, from London, who asked not to be named said, "The pickpockets and prostitutes are part of the same gang who hang around outside the bars in the early hours picking off stragglers. The women pretend to be prostitutes and throw their arms around these young lads, clearly worth the wear for drink, and when they're distracted they pickpocket them. The men pretend to be looky sellers and operate in the same way, distracting their victims and then rifling through their pockets. I've been here for years, so I know who the genuine looky men, and they are decent hard-working individuals who are trying to earn a bit of cash. The bogus ones, like the two in that video, take advantage of the fact that most tourists happily interact with the street sellers and are not at all wary of them. The police don't seem to do anything about it, so it's got to the point where bar owners won't bother sending them CCTV footage anymore. Last year there was a guy who threatened a bar worker with a knife and it was all caught on camera. The images were shown to the police along with a photograph of the knifeman, but the officers said there was nothing they could do as he hadn't injured anyone. That is why we've taken things into our own hands. Gangs of African prostitutes, as many as 50 strong, have been plaguing Magaluf for the last 15 years. They take advantage of the fact the sun-kissed resort in Majorca is a magnet for young Britons who take advantage of the cheap alcohol and raucous nightlife. Victims are reportedly lured into dimly areas away from the bars and restaurants and then ambushed by either men or groups of other women and robbed. Another tactic is for the girls to group around drunken men and pickpocket them while they are distracted. But locals have finally had enough and are fighting back, as latest figures show there were 1.6 million foreign visitors to the island in April this year, a drop of more than 7% compared to April 2017. Recently a Facebook page was set up called Cleaning Up Magaluf, which has already attracted more than 2,600 members and posts regular updates on where the prostitutes gather. Using the social networking site, organizers set up a public demonstration which saw about 100 of them confront about 20 African women who complained to police they were being harassed and intimidated. 5 British expats were later held on suspicion of hate crime. The women have told authorities in Spain that they are trafficked by gangs out of poverty in Nigeria and Senegal to cities like Barcelona and Valencia. From there, they are taken by people traffickers and gang masters to Majorca to target tourists. The women, often too poor to pay for their journey, are brainwashed with voodoo rituals and face threats from organized mafia gangs, according to investigators. This morning, just before 2 a.m. another demonstration erupted as a group of around 35 taxi drivers, bar workers and shop staff confronted 10 Nigerian women, who they accused of being muggers. Guardia Civil held extendable batons and warned the crowd to move back. The women, who pulled hoods over their heads and turned away from cameras, had been lurking outside a Pizza Hut restaurant on Avenida de Magaluf. The police later arrested 2 African men, although they would not reveal on what charges. Watching the drama unfold, a Nigerian toilet attendant at a nearby bar said the women come from Benin City in Nigeria's Edo state. They are brought here and warned to target tourists. They are not actually prostitutes though, but thieves, muggers, he said. You could offer these girls any job and they wouldn't take it. They are told what to do and they do it. The gangs warn them that they will harm their families if they don't do what they say. One Nigerian girl, aged in her mid-20s, refused to say where she was from, but told Mail Online, "We are not here to cause problems, we don't want to fight with locals." Standing on the other side of the street, an older woman shouted to a man holding a mobile phone, "Why don't you take some pictures of my backside?" 10 minutes later, a woman with a headband and large afro hair was stopped and searched by police after being accused of stealing from a tourist. Alexander Kvyatkovya, from Belarus, told the officers that the girl had taken 60 euros from his wallet. He later said, "I was walking with my friend and these girls surrounded us and offered us oral sex. I turned them down, but this girl then put her hand into my pocket and took my wallet. I managed to get the wallet back, but the money was gone." One of those involved in the protest this morning was 32-year-old events manager John Carr, from Glasgow, who has been living in Mallorca for 10 years. He said, "The girls are not prostitutes, they are